I'm looking forward to the update, however I think Mojang need to clarify what the Creaking Canopies drop is. Is it 1.20, 1.50 or 1.22? And so to help you align your expectations, Doug Svoboda, in the latest snapshot they had a toggle for the new features and it's called the Winter Drop. So that's what they're calling the update. However, there is no toggle on Bedrock, which means that when the next update comes out, it will include that Winter Drop, and that is called 1.20, 1.50, and so the Winter Drop is coming then, and so the big question at that point is, when is 1.22 coming? As Sega Channel 3 puts it, will they keep milking 1.21 until 1.20, 1.90? Will we ever receive another major version update again, or will it be 1.21.xx till the end of time? Well, today I have an interview from Lady Agnes, which actually clarifies what the next main update might be, but let's talk about that right after I say, hello, I'm ABX Toycat, and welcome back to Q&A Saturday. This is the weekly series where I answer your questions, big and small. Sometimes it's a question as small as, will we be getting pale pumpkins? The answer is that this is one of the most widely shared ideas for the Winter Drop, but it hasn't been confirmed anywhere by Mojang, so they look great, but they're not necessarily coming. And the questions can be as big as, what about 1.22? And usually we wouldn't expect to know something so big if Mojang have a smaller update to announce, but here's something interesting that we got from Der Spiegel, which is one of the biggest German news sites out there. They did an interview for the 15th anniversary of the game, and it's called Minecraft: The World of Blocks. And as you can see, it's all exclusively in German. Okay, so I had a German girlfriend for a few years, so let's just roll through this together. Wie entscheid ihr, was ihr dem Spiel Husgen führt? Okay, more seriously, I translated this to English, and here is the question that seems to pertain to the major updates of the game, because after being asked, how do you decide what to add to the game, Lady Agnes responds, we look at what players want and what we have changed recently. While we have added new types of caves and forests to the game last year, we will focus on other things for now, such as the combat system. This is how we want to make sure that there is something for everyone in Minecraft. We also try to add things that solve a problem in the game. There is so much to break down about what she just revealed there regarding the combat system and trying to add things that solve problems and indeed player feedback, but first, this sounds like an old interview to me. Alarm bells started ringing when she said that last year they added new caves and forests to the game. That sounds a lot like the Wild update, and so was this interview done a long time ago and just published recently? Well, the one thing that makes me think no is that she does specifically reference the Lush Caves, the name of an underground biome that came to the game a few years ago. If you're curious, the Lush Caves actually came to Minecraft November 30th of 2021, and so I think that you could only call that a few years ago if that was done in the last few months, because even right now, that's not quite 3 years ago, and so I think this interview is recent, and so when she says that they're focusing on other things, such as the combat system, that is a recent quote, and that is exciting. As you'll all know, the new combat needs to come to Bedrock as it is, but really the combat system on Java is 8 years old now, and they've been intending to fix it since 2019 when the first combat test snapshot came out. However, the combat test snapshots clearly were taking away time from developing the main updates, and so with the pandemic and the clear time pressures that resulted from that, they haven't been working on any more of these, and so is now finally the time to come back round and finish and maybe even improve some of these? Well, it certainly looks like it, and Lady Agnes's words make this seem very positive, and I especially love this focus on what they said in the Future of Minecraft post, which is they want to look at what players want as well as what has changed recently, and this is something that is crucial. As you update many other systems in the game, the combat feels older and older, especially with parity between Bedrock and Java, and so seeing a combat update would be great. But do you know what else would be great? While they're thinking about these big plans for what will be the next major version, alongside releasing these smaller drops, it is worth finally coming back round to the question we asked at the beginning, which is when will 1.22 actually come, therefore, because it clearly takes many months to actually tweak the combat system. As I mentioned briefly, it took over a year and a half to go from the first combat test to combat test 8C, which is the very latest one released at time of recording, and so if they do need a lot of time to work on updates, does that mean that 1.21 will be one of the longest major version cycles? You know, the comment from Sega Channel said, will they keep going till 1.20, 1.90? Well, here's the fun thing. We know that they'll probably have a 1.20, 1.60, even if only to fix bugs and add minor features, as they do on Bedrock, about 8 times a year, and so most people think that the cap for a update cycle is somewhere around 0.80. That's why 1.19 went to up to 1.19.80, 1.20 went up to 1.20.80 with the Armored Pause drop, and so will the same happen here? Will they eventually hit a ceiling? Well, no, actually. The Never update went up to 1.16.100, then 1.16.200, and ended up with 1.16.220 being the final update, which means that in theory, Minecraft Bedrock could absolutely blaze their previous update systems by going all the way up to 1.16.400 and maybe even 20 updates beyond that. But yeah, there is no cap to how many sub-updates they could do, and in theory, if it takes a decade to rework the combat and get it in a state they're happy with, in theory, if it takes them that long to make the next major update, then they could just keep going all the way till that point. I don't think this will happen, and I would guess that internally they have a release date plan of probably somewhere in the summer, but we don't actually know until the winter drop has come out and they move on to their next thing, which, by the way, a lot of people are cynical about that, like, so they're spreading out their already thin content. Mojang is just a cash pig at that point. The phrase is cash cow, by the way. Watch them only do 2 drops in the entire year, but with half the combined features of an actual update. This is a possibility. Maybe they just start doing 2 drops in a year and they announce 1 at each of the Minecraft lives. I don't think that's likely, but it's possible. And indeed, Jerrycraft says, for me personally, the Caves and Cliffs Village and Pillage were peak Minecraft content, and without these massive updates, I fear the game is going to drop in popularity, but that's just my personal opinion. The game has so much potential, and it just feels slightly pale right now. I see what you did there, by the way. I think that the thing to take away from their current system is that they have gone from releasing an update, 1.21 in the summer, to having an entire drop basically ready to release by winter, before the year is even done, and that they should therefore be ready to have something out there reasonably early next year. I would hope that that means March and April and not June or July, because otherwise, like this person says, it's not that we're getting 2 half updates twice a year, it's that we're getting 2 smaller than half updates per year. But I think that just looking at their track record of the drop system, they did 3 drops this year alongside doing an update, so presumably 4 drops in a year, or 3 drops in an update every year, isn't going to be impossible, especially given there was a huge pandemic hump in how much Mojang could do, as proven by this very combat snapshot we were just talking about, and how they basically had to shelve it to work on the Caves and Cliffs update, which was then delayed, and that seems to have had a real knock-on effect on every update since then. Maybe taking a step back is the best thing they can do for that. And speaking of taking a step back, I think that we should all take a step back from looking at that deep future of Minecraft, because ultimately we're going to learn at some point in the new year, but right now we need to focus on the pale drop. And like Lars Eriksson says, I like this update, but they need to make the trees unique and interesting. They need to have you go there for another reason than the new wood and creaking heart, have a major reason for people to go there somehow, and I totally agree. I think the biome really needs an overhaul, especially on Bedrock, and I think the biggest thing is just, what is your reason for being in such a rare place? There's a whole brand new type of wood there, and maybe the rarity of the new wood combined with the fact that there's a bit of a spook there should be enough, but I think there even needs to be some daytime threat, because otherwise there's no real challenge to the place, or there needs to be some reason that you want that nighttime threat, the creaking, and it can't just be, oh, it's fun to fight a new mob, because the Warden isn't fun to fight. I know people love to take him down for the sake of it, but he's fun because he's ridiculously challenging in a weird way to a weird group of players. What if the creaking actually had some inherent reward for taking it down that you could actually take advantage of? That's what I think this biome actually needs, if I'm being entirely honest. And speaking of being entirely honest, Transit Gaming says, hey, what's with the pink dolphin in the thumbnail? Also, I just checked, it has 82 votes now on feedback, and it was literally my idea posted on feedback in 2019. No way. If you're curious, this thumbnail was talking about how the mob vote is over and how we're in a new era of Minecraft with the creaking. And if you're curious as to why the dolphin is pink, you wouldn't be entirely wrong to think that, just like many YouTubers, I have a misleading thumbnail. The pink dolphin looks much better, and maybe some more people would click on it, but instead this is actually a real Minecraft feature that you didn't come up with because it was part of a mob vote. This sounds like insanity to people who don't know the depths of Minecraft lore, but in 2018, Minecraft decided to do a bit of democracy for the China edition of the game, and just like the regular democracy in that country, they've seemed to have phased it out, and now they have a system where they just make the decisions themselves instead. But yeah, in that mob vote, they had 5 mobs up for vote, and the least popular of all of them was the white dolphin. Why is the white dolphin pink? It's something I still to this day have to question myself about. It's meant to be like a type of dolphin that's found in China, and they call it that anyway. I don't entirely know, but all 4 of these mobs therefore are technically failed mob vote mobs, and therefore one day will come to the game. But given that the white dolphin was the bottom of this poll, I think it's very unlikely it will be. But yeah, that is how the panda came to Minecraft. That is how these other 4 mobs are technically on the to-do list, and that is one of the many ways I like to insert minute references to the deep lore of Minecraft into the thumbnails, and hopefully you appreciated it. But if you didn't, now you know the answer, because even the person who has the most upvoted suggestion for this didn't know that it is a feature coming to the game. On the subject of features you didn't know were coming to the game, Nuke777 didn't know till watching my video that there ain't no way MF's making a problem about keep inventory on easy and peaceful. This is why I gave up on the community. And I honestly have to say, the giving up on the community because of one piece of outrage is really kind of silly. It's interesting, in my opinion, that anyone could say that is true, but especially if you didn't listen to this full issue, then I could see why you would be confused at why someone's saying, what's the point of playing survival? If there's keep inventory, there'd be no penalty for death. You might as well play creative mode at that point. And I think that's going a bit far because Minecraft difficulties exist on a spectrum. It's something I said in my video, and David Solomano seems to think that they certainly exist on a spectrum, alright. And you know what? There's some social cues in this joke that you just wouldn't get if you play Minecraft because of that same spectrum. Anyway, the point here is that I think that yes, that while keep inventory being an addition to lower difficulties is a great move, having it on by default is the big thing that people seem to miss. Having more choices is great. Having it be turned on with no way to turn it off isn't so much so. I think that just the idea of making death less punishing is a fine one if it exists on a reasonable spectrum rather than easy is now vastly easier than normal. And indeed, the idea from same old is what if peaceful has your full inventory, easy has your inventory but with XP lost, normal has no keep inventory, although I would say maybe keep your hotbar or a few items, and hard is the same as normal. We could make hardcore extra punishing, and given that hardcore already is so punishing that lots of Minecraft developers don't want to necessarily play it themselves when on Bedrock, I think that that would be a good enough move. I think that difficulty in Minecraft is a sensitive topic, but I think it's one that ultimately they should be approaching from two angles. Make peaceful easier, or at least more accessible to more parts of the game, but also make more ways that hardcore is harder. I think that the moment they added the lack of regeneration, they made hardcore so much more fun for those who are looking for that challenge, but there are also people on the other side of the spectrum who want to have no challenge in the game, but nobody wants to be forced into those extra difficulty points. No one wants to play hardcore and have the ability to sleep be disabled or any of the other ridiculous challenges that we've done here on this channel, and similarly, I think that lots of people on easy aren't going to want the game to be made so easy that they have to switch up to a higher difficulty, and indeed the reverse. Some people on normal might feel they have to switch down because they love keep inventory that much. There are lots of things that I think Minecraft could do better about this, and ultimately I guess I would just say remove, or at least move some of the options from cheats into being ones that you can toggle by default would be the easiest way to customize your difficulty a bit more, but I still think there's more to be done. But that's the last I'll come into this one for now. I think it's a crazy decision. I hope they revert it. If they're willing to, if they spent years working on new combat changes, which are, I think, less controversial than keep inventory, if they spent, months working on minecart changes, which are hugely less controversial than this, I think that they should at least shelf this plan until later, and then use the drop system as an opportunity to actually work with these, because right now is time for the winter drop, or the creaking canopies, or whatever we're going to call it. I mean, if we're being entirely honest, I'm almost 100% sure that Mojang has a name that they're going to get ready for the final drop. They're going to have a big trailer and a release like they would usually do for an update of this sort, and so I would say winter drop is definitely temporary. But yeah, that is the update to focus on, making sure that that is as good as possible. But I know that a lot of you are probably going to be excited about this future end of Minecraft 2, and hopefully I was right about that. I was right that over 200 of you wanted your hands on a Big Salmon plush. They are no longer available for sale, but they will be shipping in a few months. A lot of you just started getting your hands on your long boys, including that first comment, by the way, so that's super exciting to me. But if I can end this video with one thing, it is that hopefully you have had a good Saturday. I have had a very good week. It's been a significant, anniversary for me, as I'm sure you know, but it's been one that I found to be important. But hopefully you do something that, if I can ask for one thing for you, it's that you do something that makes your day just a little bit better and more special. Hopefully you can do that. If not, I don't know, scroll and watch another dozen YouTube videos, see if that helps instead. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow for round review. Assuming there's no news that comes out on Sunday. But why would it? It's a Sunday. It's the day of rest. Unless you're a Minecraft YouTuber.